Welcome to the Referrals Podcast, the only referral podcast where you can get real stories of real people getting real referrals. Every week, we share inspiring stories and practical tips from people like you to take your repeat and referral business to the next level. I invite you to join our free private Facebook group. Go to joingengen.com. That's joingengen.com, and we'll add you to our referral group. I'm your host, Michael J. Maher, and I'm so excited to share today's episode with you. So let's get started. Hey, this is Michael J. Maher, and I just wanted to do a quick intro of today's Referrals Podcast episode. Of course, you're in store for another amazing opportunity to learn the strategies of 7L and the referral mastery system and get referrals, as we all know that you want and every business owner should and does want. I had the opportunity to start with hundreds and hundreds of people when the SummerFest 23 challenge started on July 1st of 2023. And when it was all said and done, there were 5 winners, which is an amazing accomplishment for those 5. This was the hardest challenge we've ever done. And I wanted to just outline what is our SummerFest 30-day challenge. So 3 times a year, and starting in 2024, we will be doing it even more often, because of the popularity and demand of these 30-day challenges. The 30-day challenge essentially is each and every day, everybody that's in the challenge will get a short video from me. And I used to do this thing called the referral tip of the day, and that's kind of evolved into our 30-day challenges. So I do a 5-7 minute at the most video where I outline and teach the concept. And then I give them an action item. And they are on their own to implement that. And then they go to joingengen.com, our Generosity Generation Facebook group, and they have to post their accountability underneath the graphic from that day. And we literally post a different graphic every day, and people are posting below it. And you'll see, on day 1, we have hundreds of people who comment on the graphic and implement. And you know what? By day 20, that's weaned down to, dozens. And then when it's all said and done, sometimes we have 1 winner, sometimes we have 5. One time we had 20, which is really cool. But this is the hardest challenge we've ever done. So essentially it's every day you get a video, you implement the item that needs to be done. You've got to prove it. And then we track that throughout the entire month. And we also track the referrals that the people get. So that is an essential, the SummerFest 23 winner, the SummerFest 23 challenge, and how to win it. And what we're going to do next is I actually have 4 out of the 5 winners who are going to explain their secrets, their strategies, and what they did to get referrals and win the 30-day challenge, our hardest 30-day challenge yet, SummerFest 23, which was just last month. I hope you enjoy. Here it is. Welcome, everyone, to another amazing episode of Referrals Podcast. Can you believe we're at episode 303 already? 303 episodes. Amazing. And do I have a treat for you today? The hardest challenge we've ever done at ReferCo. The SummerFest 2023 challenge was the hardest by far on purpose. And I remember going through the 30 different challenges thinking to myself, we may not have a winner. But did I underestimate the community, or did I underestimate the community? We had 5 winners to the SummerFest challenge, and they are going to share their ahas and their secrets to success today with you. I can't wait. You can't wait. Can't wait to get to this. I'm excited. Let's talk real quick about one thing, and that is the 7L Book Club. I'm going to encourage all of you to jump in our book club that starts next month. Go to 7lbookclub.com. If you are a broker or a lender or somebody who wants to get in front of, especially like a large group of realtors, if you have a brokerage, if you're a team leader, then go to joingengen.com and go to the graphic that says broker bonus. It is the best we've ever done on a book club. We're going to give you a checklist on how to run a book club. We're going to give you our 7L action guide, which is over 400 pages. And we are going to give you access to all of the book club. And you don't have to teach it. You just push play. And Carla, Angela, and myself are going to lead you through the book and give you some insights into over 100 referral generating strategies that you'll need to check out. So check it out at 7lbookclub.com or joingengen.com and look for the broker bonus graphic and just put broker bonus below it, and we will get in contact with you and explain how awesome it is. So good, it can't be explained in a graphic. That's when you know there's a really good deal. The next thing is I've got to give a shout out. I'm telling you, this is from GKen MB, and I hesitated to become a real estate agent. That's interesting, right? I hesitated to become a real estate agent because all I heard from all the experts was cold calling, FSBOs, expireds. And I personally hate when a random person calls me out of the blue and asks, hey, you want to sell your house? If I hate it, I couldn't imagine inflicting that sort of pain on others. But thank God, GAWD, I stumbled across this Referrals podcast super early in my career. At the first mention of love, generosity, and appreciation, I was hooked. The approach fits my values like a glove. As a new agent in a new town, I would appreciate an occasional targeted focus on my situation. But maybe that's an opportunity for another podcast. Maybe my future podcast. I love this person. Michael J. Maher has a dry sense of humor. I think that's a compliment. And is not the cuddly goo-goo personality type. Come on. But he's also not a sneaky slick while trying to sell useless stuff either, which I like. He's just real and trustworthy and obviously wants to help. So thank you, Michael. Thank you, GKen. And that is amazing. I appreciate that. I think that was a compliment. There was one, I'll just take it as a compliment that you like Referrals Podcast. We all like Referrals Podcast, and you're going to love today's Referrals Podcast. And our guest today, all winners. We've never had a loser on Referrals Podcast that I know of, but Yay. Guess what? Today, these are certified winners. We just completed our most difficult challenge ever, the SummerFest 2023 challenge, and we had 5 people that completed the entire challenge and won the 2023 SummerFest. I'm bringing them into a podcast today for them to share their successes and their secrets and celebrate them and let everyone learn from the insights they gained while doing this challenge. So I'd like to welcome to the Referrals Podcast, Nell Linder, Michelle Matthews, Laura-Leigh Wood, and Huntley Cuthrell. And I've got to give a special shout out to Kim Beebe. Prayers to her. She is ill. She went to Egypt and she was scuba diving off the coast of Egypt in the Red Sea. And the travel and everything else has led to an illness. And I do understand that there's a little bit of a sinus infection going around. So be careful out there, people. We love all of you. And with that, I'd like to just say, welcome Nell, Michelle, Laura-Leigh, and Huntley to Referrals Podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, Nell, we're going to start right with you. If you'll do me a quick favor and just give us a quick intro, profession, location, that kind of thing, and maybe the areas that you specialize in, and maybe something you do for fun.
Well, I'm Nell Linder. I'm an American Realty. Been in the business about 15 years. Prior to that, I was an elementary school teacher for 31 years, which was great background for learning to deal with every situation that may come up. I served the southern Brazoria County area on the Texas Gulf Coast. So we do everything from beach properties to ranch properties.
Wow.
A lot of good things around here. When I'm not doing real estate, I am a mom of 2 grown sons, a grandmother to one best, most beautiful granddaughter in the world named Audrey, and expecting a grandson in November. That's my life. When I'm not doing real estate, I'm usually reading or hanging out with family and friends, which I love to do, playing with my granddaughter. Anything that involves family is where I will be.
I love it. I love it. And that's what I love about this community is that our people are so family focused and their why is their family so often. And I just love that the system allows us to be the same person when we're with our family that we are with our clients. You know, I just love what's emanating out of you, Nell. It's
Thank
love,
you.
generosity, and appreciation. Michelle Matthews.
I'm Michelle Matthews. I am with Keller Williams Coastal Lakes and Mountains Realty, and I'm the Director of Operations for the Haven Homes and Lifestyle team. I made a complete career change about 1.5 years ago. Last April, I left accounting and finance to start on this new venture. And I think my first week, Michael, my first week on my new job, they brought me to your seminar in New Hampshire.
Oh, wow.
So I bought the book. I started that whole journey. My real estate's been a little different because I juggle both. But yesterday, I got my first buyer under contract. And now, thanks to everything that pushed me out of my comfort zone in all of your programs, I have a lot of things going on in my pipeline now, aside from my Director of Ops role. When I'm not working, I love hiking, kayaking, anything outdoors. I have 2 grown children and a husband who accompany me on my crazy adventures. Our new goal is to do all of the 4,000 footers, over 4,000 footers in New Hampshire.
Wow.
So that's kind of a little bit about me.
That's awesome. Staying active. And I can't wait to talk to you about, the accounting and finance background. And that's not something we hear a lot in real estate. It seems like if you've got that big C personality out of the DISC, that for some reason, a lot of brokers, unfortunately, will discount people. If they're not an ID or a DI, sometimes they kind of just go, well, you're not going to be a success in this business. And it's like, no, that's not how it works at all. But I love that. I love that you've got that specificity and that cautious, perfectly accurate background, mixed with a great, obviously a great implementation attitude. So love that. All right, Huntley, you're next.
Yeah, Huntley from Raleigh, North Carolina, work with Fathom Realty. My team is called Retire Triangle NC. So I do a lot of boomer generation downsizing, retiring, or moving here to retire. Been in the business for 8 years and absolutely love doing this. People say this is work. And to me, it's not work. I feel like I'm retired. It's so much fun and joy to help somebody buy a house, give them the keys, and just the excitement that they have. Married for 34 years, got 2 kids, one married, one's getting married, and work pretty much sold all over the state, but mostly in the Raleigh-Durham Triangle area, Chapel Hill, and love fishing when I'm not trying to help people buy and sell houses. And I must say, this guy, what G. Kent and what he said about you, Michael, is spot on. I ditto every bit of it. And if I could say anything about what this investment that I've made into RMA I've spent money, not a lot, but some money on advertising and everything. This is the best by far investment I have ever made in this business.
Well, Huntley, that is one great way to make sure that I call on you more during this podcast. I just want you to know. So you get an hour to keep talking like that. So
I could go on.
Yeah, I appreciate that very much. And that's what we wanted Referral Mastery Academy to be, is we wanted to be a no-brainer, affordable awesomeness. That's really what I mean. Like, we're going to blow people away with what we give for the RMA. So I appreciate that. All right, Laura-Leigh Wood, our Florida representative.
Thank you. And thank you for having me on this podcast. I'm a 5th generation Floridian, by the way, Michael.
Wow.
And I have been working in real estate, been a realtor for 19 years. I'm here in Winter Springs, Florida. I work for Remax Town and Country. It's led by Kevin Acker. We have 3 offices. We have one in Winter Park, Winter Springs, and Lake Mary. And I got to do a shout out to Will Laval. He's in the Winter Park office, and he's who brought me to the Oviedo event where I met you, Mr. Mayor. And it was, I was kind of dragging my feet, listening to another guy, but you are no bullshit. Oh, can I say that?
Yes. We now got to put a little E next to the recording, but it's all good.
I'm so sorry.
It's all good. There's no BS. By the way, that opens it up for everybody else. Once you open it up, baby, it's open. So,
well, you're the real McCoy, and I just love you and Sherry. I really do. Like I said, I've been doing this for 19 years, and you have helped me to reconnect with myself. Sounds funny, doesn't it? So my background was I was a commodity broker before I had children. So I was quick to understand market changes, but there's a lot more to it than that, right? There's a lot more to being able to do this for 19 years and losing yourself. So thank you. What do I do when I'm not selling real estate? I actually love to garden. I've got some really cool flowers. And I love to fish too, Huntley. We've got some great places here. I'm 40 minutes to the beach, 20 minutes downtown Orlando, 40 minutes to Disney. It's a great place to live. So thanks for asking.
I love that. We're in energy mastery class right now. And I've done this research on nature. And so, and there's nature and putting your bare feet in the grass and doing some of this. And then there's like all this stuff I'm reading on flowers is just over the top as to what it does to our psyche and to our spirit and to our body. Like, flowers actually are healthy for us. You know, it's like, well, they're weeds. Well, it's like, no, they're not. They're different. And obviously there's a reason that all of these, civilizations have cultured and cultivated flowers through the years. But it's interesting that you garden because, and also that's a great analogy for what we do, in my opinion, in the referral mastery system and the generosity generation is we don't hunt, right? We don't hunt. We're not hunters, because the thing about hunters is they go out and they kill it, right? And then they drag it back and they eat it. Well, what do they got to do again? They got to go out and kill. Well, what if there's only 10 deer in the area? They kill those. What do they do now? They starve, right? And then we're also not a farmer. What do you do when you farm the land? Right? You go out, you till it, you actually kill the plants, right? And then you regrow from the seed and that kind of thing. What we do, I believe, is we're gardeners. I believe that one of the things we do is we plant trees, right? And what's the difference between fruit trees and hunting and farming, right? The difference is you nurture the tree, which is an ambassador referral source. You nurture people, and then it grows up, and then the oranges fall off. Or in Georgia, the peaches fall off, right? Or a lot of other places, the apples are there for the picking, right? And here's what's interesting. You need to pick the apples. You need to pick the oranges. You need to pick the peaches, because the tree won't be as healthy if you just let them like rot and go away, right? So, but the thing is, the tree never goes away. The relationship with the tree never goes away. Our relationships with people never go away. But that's so contrary to how real estate's been done forever. It's been hunting and farming and just go and kill and slaughter and then, and then do it again. And I just love, when you have trees that are growing in your backyard, you just got to take care of them, and you nurture them and they'll take care of you. So, and there's so many great analogies from that. I'm glad you brought up gardening. one of the things I love about what I'm hearing is I've got somebody 1 year in the business, 8 years in the business, 15 years in the business, and 19 years in the business. So we cover the gambit. Now, we are a little bit of a smiley face. We're going from Texas up to the Northeast with Michelle, right? So we got a little bit of a smiley face. It makes me want to think that maybe we need to market to the Midwest and West a little bit better next time. But here's the thing is I want to know, like, and I'm going to start with you, Laura-Leigh, since you were the last one to speak, and then Huntley, you'll go next. Is Laura-Leigh, what was out of the 30 challenges of the SummerFest challenge, what was your favorite challenge?
That's really difficult because there was a lot of introspective work that was done for me, and there were so many that I really enjoyed, and I love your twist on it. It seems very simple when you give it, but then there's so much more work that's to be done. I like the stacking habits. I like preparing my workout clothes, as simple as that sounds. I wasn't doing that. So here I am in my savers group in the morning, and as soon as it's over, I go for a walk, and I had foot surgery in January. So it's really important for me to be doing that, or I get on my Peloton and boom, it's a habit now. Wow. It sounds so simple, that 1 degree, like you say. Thank you very much. It's a life changer. It really is, because I can build on that, the stacking.
Yeah. Kudos to you for doing it though. I mean, and you guys are implementers. So I'm going to stop saying good job on doing it, because that's, you guys are like, no, we just do it. We are going to do it. And I will tell you, the habit stacking has been a huge game changer for me. I mean, your habit stacking inside, right? The morning club, the morning group with the savers, those are all stacked habits.
Which
and then
is
it's
amazing.
like, yeah. And then we, all right, so we're doing that, and we're doing it every day. Well, what can we put on the front and back side of that to keep the good habits going and keep the good day going? And you added exercise and the walking and the podcast listening and everything else that you're doing. And I mean, I love that. I love that. And that's what habit stacking is. So beautiful.
Thank you.
I love it.
Thank you for that.
Huntley, what was your favorite?
And I did this with the March Madness, the great retrace, and the success of calling the ones that started the referrals to the next one that was referral, and down the line, and just planting the seed of just about everyone that I called. As we're talking, I know somebody's coming up that's going to be, and you talk about the seeds, I mean, this fruit has seeds in it that grow new trees and more trees, and it just reciprocates. So that was really a big ha-ha back in March, and doing it again this month. So it's pretty much going to be at least a once a quarter, if not every month, strategy.
I love it. So the Great Trace, of course, one of my favorite strategies, and it's based on, essentially, you take a referral, who's the referral source, and we're going to, hopefully it's part of everybody's system to thank the referral source. Where we go a little further is we then think to ourselves, who's introduced, connected, or referred to us, the referral source. And it's like, all right, that connection. And then we think, all right, who introduced, connected, or referred us to that person. And we just go back as far as we can. And I just finished this with a coaching client who went 22 people deep. Wow. 22 people that led to this referral. And that strand has over 100 referrals in it over 20 years. That one strand of the Great Retrace, So amazing. Go ahead, Huntley.
The main one that I've had was 8 referrals. So in just 2 years.
That's phenomenal. I mean, that's the way it should
work.
So I love that. And by the way, Laura-Leigh, real quick, you had mentioned Will. What's Will's last name?
Lavelle, Lavalle, and he's in the Winter Park office. And he invited me.
Yeah. So that's a great example, right? So I was at an event. Will Lavelle invited Laura-Leigh to come. Laura-Leigh's a client. She's doing fantastic. Great excuse for me to call Will, reach out to Will, and just say, thank you for bringing Laura-Leigh into my life and into my community. And then I'm going to call Aaron Luden, because Aaron Luden was the one who hired me to put on the event and had me speak, right? And
that
then
was for the top 500 agents in Orlando.
that's right. So it's one of those where then it's like, who connected me to Aaron, and so on and so forth. Call them and thank them for Laura-Leigh, right? So that's the essentials of the Great Retrace. Michelle Matthews, what was your favorite challenge?
So hard to pick one, and so hard I had to flip through my notes because your classes all build off each other. So I was trying to think, which class was it from? But there was one, I forget the challenge, to reach out to a networking group and become part of it. And I've done it in your other challenges, and that one super pushed me out of my comfort zone. But I did wind up finding a group that I had never heard of called Accelerate Her that I love. And I'm also starting a main chapter of Networking Group USA because I had reached out to them and they don't have a chapter. But one of my other favorites, just quickly, is the 444. So I've really started implementing that.
So explain that for the listeners, what the 444 is.
So if you have a one-on-one appointment, after that appointment, you're going to send them a text, a phone call, an email, and then a power note. And sometimes I switch it up a little bit. Like if they've mentioned something, another one of your things, like I might hop on Amazon and instead of the power note, send them something. Your book, I've sent your book several times to people that I've met. I had coffee with an insurance agent about a month ago who's trying to build her business. So I sent her your book.
Well, thank you. And that's the right answer for everybody. We're changing our 444 for the rest of my career. Is the 444 is now the 555 and includes sending them 7L from Amazon. I love that, Michelle. That is great implementation. And I love this freaking group. You're making my day.
4 days of awesome follow-up is what you told us, Michael. And that was what was in my notes, Michelle. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Well, that's what happens, right? So when do they get the email? Maybe later that day. When do they get the phone call or message? That day, maybe the next day, maybe 3 days, depending on who's checking voicemail. And then, when do they get the text message? Immediately. And that's my favorite, right? The follow-up text is a standard for me. And then when do they get the handwritten note? 3 or 4 days later. Well, you're like, well, I did all this in like 4 minutes. I'm afraid they're going to feel like it's too much. They don't get it at the same time. So they get it at different times and they're like, oh my gosh, this person is really with it. I've had the experience when I've gone from a stranger to a referral source in 4 days because of the 444. They've never had anybody follow up so great with them that they're impressed enough to start referring me in less than 4 days. It's a powerful strategy.
And it truly does work. And I've had people say, like with the gifts, when you make them so personalized, people have said that is the nicest thing anyone's ever done for me.
Yeah.
And it's just those simple little touches.
Well, I think the other thing too is, I talk sometimes about the relationship scale and that's 0 to 10. Zeros are strangers and 10 are ambassadors, people who speak highly of us and refer us willingly. And what's amazing is that people think that you have to build relationships a long time to start getting referrals. Well, as a high D, high I, but a high D personality with a C kicker, which I'll leave off the joke from there. That makes me a DIC, okay, right? But here's the thing. I can be that. But here's the thing is that I wanted answers, I wanted results faster than that, So what I discovered is you can take that 0 relationship to a 10 relationship in very, very quickly in 4 days. And what's funny that I heard Michelle said, she goes, it truly works, truly, like, come on, believe me, Michelle, it's going to work. But that's what I love about this system is there's so many systems out there that people have tried things and they don't work. And so there's some hesitation with anything we implement, but that's what I love is that these work, these do work. And
they're artificial. They're artificial, Michael, or you just do it. This is authentic.
Yeah. Well, hopefully, right? I mean, I think that's the best thing is, and honestly, maybe you implement it unauthentically first. And then what happens is you're like, oh, wait, no, this feels good. And you become better at implementing it authentically and making it more you. And I'll tell you, I'm glad you brought that up, Michelle. That's one of my favorite strategies as well. And people are like, wait, habit stacking was one of your favorite strategies, Michael. Hey, the great retrace was one of your favorite strategies, Michael. Hey, the 440. And it's like, yeah, that's what I love about this. I have all these favorites. It's like kids, right? I don't have a favorite kid. I have lots of favorite kids, So Nell, how about you?
My favorite was day 28, and it was 5 positive conversations where you call someone, don't talk about real estate. Just ask them, what are you doing this weekend? What are your plans? How are things going for you? What's changed in your life? And it was hard because getting a hold of 5 people and talking to them, was difficult. So it's probably my most difficult one as well. But I'm glad I persevered. The first person I called says, I was just thinking about you. You never know. And I spoke with her. We arranged a date for lunch. Then her daughter chimed in and said, is that Nell? I want to go too. You have to go at a time that I can go as well. So it was well worth, reaching out. And I enjoyed conversations with a variety of people. Some past clients, some were new people that I had just met and wanted to follow up with them. One was someone new I had met in a new group I was in and appreciated that follow-up. And then was able to then follow up with that 444 in a way and send gifts. But one thing I want to point out to you, this was on my doorstep this morning.
Oh,
Wow.
It's Houston Astros because I'm an Astros fan. And I've been fussing about them not doing well. So, and also I've been recovering from pneumonia.
Who
Somebody
sent it
knocked
to
on
you?
my door this morning, rang my doorbell, bouquet of flowers with my Astros cup. So
Who sent it to you?
my sister.
Yeah. And
My
how did that
sister.
feel?
Oh, I loved it.
Yeah.
And that brought home to me how these simple little gifts, these are grocery store roses. She said, I saw the mug and thought you needed it. Well, that's how we need to be with everyone that we work with. I thought of you, so this is what happens next. Whether it's a phone call or dropping something off on their doorstep, I've got a list going of these are people I need to drop things off with this week, or these are people I need to send a note. I did a big push with back to school with teachers. Having been a teacher, I know how hard that first beginning of school is. And that was another one of my favorites, was sending a gift. Well, I went off on that because teachers were publishing their Amazon wish list for things for their classrooms. And once I got started, I couldn't stop because I know how important that is to teachers.
For sure.
So, and it's surprising, as someone talked about the cold calling. Yes, that's something I would hate to do. But calling people that they are always excited to get that phone call. When you send a note, they're always excited to get that note. And it takes so little of our time to do that and make a person feel special. There are so many people out in the world today that are lonely. They're busy all the time. They're with people all the time, but they're lonely because they don't feel that they're getting recognized. And it's kind of like what the guy in the letter said to you. I have not found a real estate coach that dovetails with the way I feel about people and the way I want to treat people. Everything was always so hardcore about get. And I like that mindset switch to give, and give.
Hey,
and
Nell, I have a question to ask you. Do you remember Michael saying this? When you give to others, and I may be paraphrasing, when you give to others, sonic boom is put out to the world, and it always comes back to you.
It does. It does.
Say no more.
And, it's taking the fear of looking silly out of the equation. Just do it. If you think of someone, write that note. If you think of someone, give them a call, and they will appreciate it. They're
Genergy.
not. It's
Genergy.
good energy. I mean,
Genergy. Remember Genergy?
exactly. Genergy.
J14. Genergy. Michael.
That's right. That's right.
That's right. Generosity, energy. It does. It generosity propels the universe to conspire for your success. And that's what happens, right? Is the more you give, like and it may not be the person, but it's the person behind the person or another person that they run into that they want to reciprocate. The world wants to reciprocate. The universe wants balance, right? Our base, our everything, energy runs into it. The weather runs in homeostasis. Everything is about balance, right? We try to get to as much balance as we can. Well, you want to throw the universe out of balance, or you want to really deliver into God, right? You're good and faithful servant. Well, it says good and faithful servant. What's that mean? Serve, right? And the other thing too is earlier, it was like, thank you for having me on the podcast. It's like, I want you all to know you earned it. You deserved it. So the root word of deserve, right, is de serve, of service. What do you do? You serve to deserve. And guess what? You deserved all the accolades you're getting. I mean, I can't wait to release this in the Gen group, because they're all going to know who you are. They're all going to celebrate this. So it's one of those where Genergy is real, right? Generosity, energy is real. And the first activity we need to do on a daily basis is something that's generous, and just put it out to the world that, we're givers and it's going to work. So I love that. All right. So what was the hardest challenge? And by the way, Nell, before I get to the hardest challenge, you and Kim are actually in the same office. Did you have each other as accountability partners, or how did that work? Did you just do it on your own and just find out later you were doing it like the same?
Okay, I'll just tell you this up front. Kim was a devotee of another real estate guru. Okay. We went to a conference. I had no desire to do what they had suggested. I found you on my own, and Kim had to hear me all the time. Well, Michael Maher said this, and this is what worked, and I've been doing this. So finally she said, I want to know more. I want to know more. And she signed up for SummerFest. And I would hear from her, I love this guy. I love everything he's telling. And we had previously done a book study on 7L in our office. Someone in our office read the book and encouraged all the rest of us. That's how we got rolling. And we kind of were accountability partners in that her office is within yelling distance of mine. And she would yell out, I posted mine. Have you posted yours?
That's an accountability partner.
Who did you call? What did you do? And so, yes, we had some accountability there. We thoroughly enjoyed it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I don't think I've ever had two winners of a challenge in the same office, other than Jana's team, which I had to exclude from the winners of this one, because they have me like holding them accountable every other week, right? So Jana's team had like 12 winners of March Magic. And so it's like, I love that you had somebody in the office that it just makes it better, and to have an accountability partner, somebody there that's hard on you, so to speak. So I love it. Competitiveness. All right. So what was the hardest challenge, Nell, in the 30-day challenge of SummerFest?
I really think the hardest one was calling the leader of a local group, communicating with them, and first figuring out, who do I want to call, and put in a call, had to leave a message. He called me back when I was in the car. It was great. It's Lake Jackson Business Association. And the person I talked to was Pinky Hartline. And he is such a powerhouse for our city, and is trying to make this a group that anyone can come to. He doesn't have like huge membership fees. All we do is show up. All we have to do is pay for our lunch. And they always have a speaker. One of the last one was our local state representative talking about what's going on in the market that affects real estate, what they're doing in the legislature that affects real estate, and what affects our city. And the speakers are always right on target. This next month is Economic Development Committee. So I like to be in the know about what's going on in my community, and this is a good way to do that.
Yeah, I love that. And here's what I love the most is the challenge was to call a group leader or membership chair of a networking group of some sort. And it could be really any group. And then attend one. The challenge was not join. But Nell, you're like the first of like 50 that have told me that they're in that group and they're going and they love it. And that's what I love. That's the 1 degree. What was the 1 degree tweak? Calling the person that had influence within the group. And it was just a matter of picking up the phone, and that, look at the momentum that has created in your business and in your life just from that 1 degree tweak implementation. I love it.
And I also learned if it's not on my calendar, it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So it is on my calendar for the next few months. We take a break in November, December because, holidays things are going on. And, but it's in my calendar. I know. It's kind of like our office meetings. I know when that is going to happen. It's on my calendar.
Yep. Michelle Matthews, what was the hardest challenge?
To sit in silence for 7 minutes.
Yeah. I've gotten feedback on that one for sure. So yeah.
But it was great because it's a good self-reflection. I'm pretty high energy. I'm not still for long. So that was extremely difficult for me. And when actually, a funny little side note, when I told my husband I was doing your energy mastery class, I think he wanted me to quit because I have more than enough energy for him.
That's awesome.
So,
he's like, you should be teaching that, Michelle.
and I agree with what you said about joining a group. Like that was difficult to make those initial contacts, but I had tried a lot of local networking things. But what I like about the one I found through the continued encouragement from the challenges was I found one that almost mirrors the way 7L does it, which was what I needed to be local.
That's perfect. Love that. Huntley, what was the hardest challenge for you?
That's the hardest challenge, is picking out what was the hardest challenge. Honestly, that I didn't find any of them to be very hard. Once you start, you start and you do it now. I've been practicing that since early this year, and that's become a habit. So, but if I were to say something,
now hold it. You slipped something in there that I want to make sure that people really get.
I was going to come
you
back.
Said that you've been doing Do It Now since the beginning of the year. So what is that? Like what is it? Isn't that bigger than just 3 words?
Well, the concept behind it, and I love it, is when you were in elementary school, when you were chewing gum in class or talking to your classmate, you had to write down 100 times, 1,000 times. And so you didn't do that anymore after you did all these lines. So, the Do It Now, I started doing that. I still do it 3 times a day, 7 times, 49 times each time. And I've also added a couple of things that I need to begin to make habits and do the same thing. So it really does work. But my whole career has always been putting something down to do today, and then at the end of the day, moving it to the next day and moving it to the next day. You know what? Do it now. And life has just gotten so much easier. Call it the one thing, whatever you want to call it, but that's helped. But back to the hardest thing, I live with my wife and her mother, and they do the cooking. So I have no control over the eating plan except for my breakfast, and I do that every day, same one. But I did want to take my time, if I have a certain amount of time to talk, and go back to the power notes, and I want to say, and you can tell me who it was, but some people might forget what you know or what you do, but they will not forget how you feel.
Yeah, Maya Angelou said that. Yep.
And I have been writing birthday cards my whole sales career, 30 some years, to all my, my major clients. And I can't tell you, since you told us how to write these power notes and make it all about them, no marketing, no me, we, kind of stuff. I can't tell you how many times I've had a text picture of that birthday card or the power note that sent back to me and said, "Oh, you've been sending me birthday cards for years, and I never said a thing, but this one really made me, made my day or whatever." So it really, it works, and it's made this job, if you call it that, so much more fun. The interaction between relationships, it makes you want to call them more, and they call you back. It's all good.
That's awesome. Huntley, I appreciate that. And once again, kudos on doing it now, and it is reprogramming. That's the power of the do it now. Is we have a program for procrastination. We've gotten by with it, especially when nobody's around, right? Because a lot of what we do in the world is extrinsic motivation, right? We got teachers who are holding us accountable, parents who are holding us accountable, coaches who are holding us accountable. So we do it for them a lot of times. But when we like something that we really need to relearn is how to do things for ourselves and like do them when there's nobody watching and do these things that have to be done without accountability. And we know they're the right thing to do. And that's the power of the do it now. It's very simple. And what's very interesting is, writing on the chalkboard, "I will not chew bubble gum. I will not chew bubble gum in class," actually makes you want to chew bubble gum in class more often because of the word not. Your brain does not process not, right? It's not like "I will not." It's what we really need to do is establish and repeat the things that we want to do. It's like, "I will set up and pay attention in class." Whatever it may be. So I love that. And then the whole thought on the hardest challenge, they're really not that hard if you just you're going to do it and you do it now. It really is something. I'm just going to conquer this. And I do love the comment on the birthday cards is once you start writing them in blue ink, you got a PS on there and you really make it a heartfelt thing about them. It's a win. I love it. Laura-Leigh, what was the hardest challenge of the SummerFest challenge?
So they were all hard. They were all easy, right, Huntley? So for me, the eating plan also and following through with that, because I am kind of the girl that, I'll go have sushi. Yeah, I'll go do this. But again, just implementing it and having a plan. But more importantly, the 7 minutes of silence. I'm going to echo what Michelle said, and to be still and listen, and that peacefulness that came over. And my notes said, I need to work harder on being softer, kinder, and more loving to me.
What does that mean?
Well, Helena would say, fly.
It would be what?
Fly.
Yeah. First love yourself. That's right. So, wow. I think that's awesome. So, all right, real quick, Laura-Leigh, any advice for someone thinking about taking one of your challenge? Quick words of will, if they're thinking about taking a Referral Mastery Academy, let's say it's November, that's coming in October, or they're looking to maybe do the book club next month.
I'm going to do the book club, and I didn't realize what year it was published. For everybody out there in TV land, I just want you to know that it is appropriate, and when you read it a second time, you even get more out of it for now. And now I'm even different. So now I'm going to read it a third time. So I'm really psyched up about this 7L book club. I'm going to be there and I'm going to win whatever challenge that is. Besides that, I'm going to close with this, if I may.
Yeah.
Show up, grow up.
Mm-hmm.
I just dropped the mic.
I love it. That's right. If you sign up, you better show up, right? And if you show up, you're going to grow up. You're going to grow up because you're there, right? And then, what happens when you grow up? You go up. You go to the next level. You burst a new comfort zone bubble. Your comfort zone was this big. Now it's this big. And then it's this big. And then pretty soon you've got this big, giant comfort zone where you're confident in almost anything. So I love that. I appreciate that.
Thank you very much, by the way. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Thank you. And Huntley, how about you? Words of wisdom on somebody that's thinking about maybe taking, November or 7L book club? We've got event mastery coming up, something like that.
It's when you find something, a gem or a GEM or something good, you can't stop talking about it. So just about everybody I've come in contact with, my lenders, my fellow realtors, it's get that 7L book, or let's, start our own book club. So I'm kind of recruiting some of those, and I can't say how many times I tell people listen to the podcast. There's so many good podcasts on there that doesn't even cost you stuff. But once you start doing it, which is what happened to me, I got the book, started listening to podcasts. I'm like, I got to ask more of this. And
yeah,
crazy. So
that's awesome. I appreciate that very much. And you hit it on the head is that one thing that's nice about the book club, I don't want to make this a giant ad about the book club, but it's like the one thing that's nice is you don't have to teach it this time. We're going to teach it. All you've got to do is round up the people and push play, right? So I think that's one nice thing and here's the thing. Once you see the way that Angela and Carla mainly and myself do the book club, you're going to go, okay, I can do this. You know what? Then you can do it any month, anytime you want, and expand your horizons. So I appreciate that.
So
Michelle,
go ahead. Sorry, interruption. Is that through the RMA? Can I bring anybody in to watch it?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah. As long as you do the broker bonus program, you can gather up, and we'll give you the checklist on how to invite them. We'll give you all the social media graphics. We'll give you the emails to email out to the people you know. And here's the other thing. It's not realtor. This is like your networking groups would be great people to be in there listening and watching to the 7L. So, Carla is not a realtor. She's been in the title world and run businesses and that kind of thing. So you're going to get great aspects. Angela is in the real estate world, very powerful top producer in North Carolina. So it's one of those.
That's cool. So like our title company could be included in this too.
100%.
Okay.
Yeah, go check the
I wasn't
broker
even
bonus.
thinking about that.
Yeah, if you go to Join Gen and you sign up for the broker bonus, you'll get all of that, and you get multi-seat access. So it's a pretty cool deal. We've never done it before.
Anybody that's in the referral business, my wife is an artist and she gets referrals, so she's starting to apply some of these principles and seeing success too.
Love it. It's becoming a 7L household there, Huntley. All right. If her mom starts to implement, you got to let me know. All right, brother, because that would be something. So, Michelle, how about you? What any advice for someone thinking about taking one of our challenges or classes?
So I always tell everyone I know that because I have done, I think, all of your classes now since I started. Anytime I can be in a room for an hour with you or Angela, Polly, Carla, Neil, Sherry is amazing. And it's not just the classes, it's the people. Like 30 mornings was my first one. And I did it kind of begrudgingly. What do you mean? Like I'm a morning person anyway, but to be up and dressed for that. Now our 30 mornings group is well over a year and a half being together. And Laura-Leigh just joined us. Mm-hmm. So when I was just beginning and had questions, they were so helpful to me, like walking me through, I'm going to show a house, the do's and the don'ts. And like I said, it's not just the classes are amazing, but it's the people that present the classes that make it.
Yeah, I love that. And it's one of those where, who is attracted to what we offer? It's loving, generous, and appreciative people. You put loving, generous, and appreciative people in a room, it's magic. Mm-hmm. And that's it, So I love that. Nell, how about you? What advice would you give to someone or words of wisdom? They're thinking about maybe taking a challenge or a mastery class that we teach.
The first class that I did was the March Madness. That's when I first got involved. I have gone back and looked at bits and pieces of other classes just to see what was there. I cannot think of any one that I've not learned and applied something from that class. The habits that I do in the morning now are amazing. It's like if something happens and I can't do my routine habit things, I feel discombobulated the rest of the day. It's like, what happened? I have to have my time. I've got little alarms on my phone that tell me. It was hard when I had pneumonia. My day started a lot later, and I felt like the day was gone. So what I love is that early morning routine, those habits. And as Laura-Leigh, I believe, said, that habit stacking, adding one more little thing. If someone hasn't read the book, they need to read the book. And having that book club is amazing because it gives you a little bit more real life application where you can think about it for yourself. How am I going to implement that in my life? And I think the biggest takeaway was that one degree change. If you try to change everything all at once, you won't stick to it.
Right.
It's too difficult. But adding a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more each and every time you feel a need for a change. I'm kind of like Laura-Leigh. My eating plan needs some work.
Well, it's
but
a
I
work
think
in
that
progress.
applies to most people.
It's a work in progress, right? Eating plan,
Right,
exercise
right.
plan. We've got people lifting weights for the first time ever in our group, and it's like, that hurts first, right? I mean, like you get sore and that kind of thing. And now they're coming out of it and they're realizing the benefits, but it's true, right? Everything's a 1 degree tweak.
And one of my biggest things that I have stayed with continually is your suggestion about that 7 exercise app.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Even if I don't feel like exercising, like you said in another class, a lot of times you don't feel like doing it, but you always feel better when you've done it.
That's right.
My phone reminds me, you got 7 minutes. And I'm thinking, yes, I really do. Whether I want to or not, I will do my exercising. And it has made a big difference.
Love it. Well, fantastic stuff here, everybody. I really appreciate it. Laura-Leigh, I definitely appreciate you being here on our podcast today. Thank you for being a guest on Referrals Podcast.
My pleasure.
Huntley, you too, brother. I got a chance to hang out with Huntley in Cary, North Carolina when my son was playing for USA Baseball, and didn't realize that Huntley has a big history in baseball as well and was a heck of a player. And Huntley, I just appreciate everything you do, and you did it now with coming over, driving out of your way to come see us and hang out with us. And I wasn't a very good like host. I was watching my son. I almost rather my son was sitting on the bench more that game, so I could have chatted with Huntley more. But he was out there so much, and then he was on base. He got a hit, and then he was on base. He stole second. He's like, I couldn't take my eyes off my son, and it's just one of those where, Huntley, I really appreciate you being a guest here today too.
Thank you.
Michelle, as always, you're a rock star. You're implementing this stuff. I mean, it's hard. If I wouldn't have guessed, I would have never thought you were just in the business a year and a half or so. I mean, you're an implementer. You're doing it. You have embedded yourself as a regular in Referral Mastery Academy and a leader. And I just really appreciate that about you as well.
Thank you.
And Nell,
All thanks to you.
thank you. No, not all, but some. I'll take this much, right? You're doing it now. You're the one implementing, and that's why you're here today, so we can celebrate that. And Nell, just not last but not certainly least, is your dedication to this. You've been such a and to pull a devotee or whatever that word is, which obviously shows my intelligence. I could spell it, but I don't think I can pronounce it. DEVOTEE, right? Devotee.
Right.
Of another someone, and you're converting that person. That makes you an ambassador. You're speaking highly of us and referring us willingly. So love that. And just being a leader in your office as well. And kudos on everything. I'm glad you're over the pneumonia, and glad you're back and feeling better. So great to have you here on the podcast.
Great to be with you, Michael. I appreciate it.
Ladies and gentlemen, these are the winners of SummerFest 2023 out of hundreds of people across the country and Canada. These 5, I have to give Kim Beebe credit too. These 5 are the ones who made it through the challenge. Very challenging, our hardest challenge ever. And they won. And I just want to celebrate all of them. And to you out there listening, do yourself a favor. First of all, if you haven't got the book, go to thebookonreferrals.com. You can get it at Amazon and they ship it to your door the next day because, it's obviously a 911 thing to make sure you get that book immediately or something. And then also join GenGen. Join GenGen.com. Come over, join our generosity generation, see what we're about. There are referrals exchanged. I did just see a referral was posted today. So come over to joinGenGen.com. And then, if you're going to read the book, maybe you're like, I don't know about reading this thing. Well, here's the deal. We'll read it for you to you. Join the book club, 7lbookclub.com. You don't even have to read the dang thing. You can just follow along in the class and get a lot of help and learn about the 100+ referral strategies that we talk about. So that's great stuff. I appreciate everything about you as a listener and a viewer. You've made us top 60 in the United States in the marketing category. Thank you so much for listening and downloading. We appreciate you. And we will see you next time on Referrals Podcast. See you, everybody. As always, thank you for listening to the Referrals Podcast and reviewing the show on your favorite app. We read every single review, and I know many people read the reviews and in some cases have even referred the people who have done reviews. And I give a shout out occasionally to the ones that I love the most. A very special thank you for sharing the show with other business people, salespeople, including realtors, lenders, warranty reps, title, and honestly, any business that wants and need referrals, and what business doesn't want repeat business and referral business. Every time you share the show, you're potentially changing someone's life because they can go from pushy salespeople or trying to do business the traditional way to building a business based on love, generosity, and appreciation that floods them with referrals and repeat business. And when they go to bed at night, they can put their head on their pillow and relax because they understand that they can have peace of mind about where their next piece of business comes from. Go to joingengen.com and we'll add you to our private Facebook group. That's joingengen.com, joingengen.com. We'd love to have you. And stay tuned for the next episode of Referrals Podcast.